Why can't you be more like my ex? She asked on our anniversary. I paid for dinner, drove her home, and never looked back. Now she's alone, humiliated, and getting ignored by both of us. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I used to think that love was supposed to feel safe, comfortable, like something you build quietly, day by day, brick by brick. Sophie made me question all of that. When we first started dating, she was magnetic, beautiful, confident, always the center of attention in any room. I wasn't used to girls like her being interested in guys like me. I'm not bad looking, but I'm quiet, more thoughtful. I work in software development, keep my apartment clean, hit the gym 3 times a week, and pay my bills on time. I'm the kind of guy moms like and women often say they should like, but usually don't. But Sophie chose me. Or at least, that's what I thought. We met at a friend's housewarming party. She had this effortless charm, like she didn't need to try, and still everyone revolved around her. She told me later that I stood out because I didn't try to impress her. I just asked her what book she was reading. Looking back, I realized I wasn't special. I was just different from the last guy. His name was Ryan. He was the kind of guy women say they're done with, but somehow still compare everyone else to. Loud, impulsive, lived like a rock star even though he worked part-time at a vape shop. From what she told me, he cheated, lied, bailed on rent, and constantly left her on read. And she'd talk about him like he was a tragic love story instead of a cautionary tale. In the beginning, I brushed it off. Everyone has exes, right? But it kept happening. Like the time we were cooking dinner at my place. Just something simple, tacos and a few beers, and she looked around and said, "You're so domestic." Ryan always wanted to go out. He hated eating in. Or the time I took her on a day trip to the lake, and she told me, "This is sweet, but Ryan once took me to a concert 2 states away on a whim. No plan. Just packed a bag and went." It stung, but I swallowed it. Told myself she was just processing her past. That maybe if I stayed patient, gave her a real relationship, she'd finally stop idealizing the guy who walked away from her. I tried to make her feel safe, supported. She said she'd never had a guy who listened the way I did, who remembered little things, like how she liked her coffee or the fact that she hated mornings but loved sunrise if someone woke her up gently. She'd say things like, "I know I don't always show it, but you're really good to me." And then a week later, she'd complain that I wasn't ambitious enough because I didn't want to move to LA and chase clout with her influencer friend group. It was a strange kind of emotional whiplash. Like I was being evaluated constantly, graded against someone who had already failed the class, but somehow still set the standard. I stayed. Maybe out of hope. Maybe out of pride. Maybe because when you invest enough time and energy into someone, walking away feels like quitting instead of self-respect. Our 2-year anniversary was coming up. I booked a reservation at a nice restaurant she'd been wanting to try for months. Not over-the-top fancy, but elegant. Intimate. I bought her a necklace. Nothing flashy, just a small silver pendant that reminded me of a sketch she once doodled on a napkin. I even wrote her a letter. I thought maybe this would be the night she finally saw me the way I saw her. I had no idea it would be the last time I'd ever take her out. The night of our anniversary, I showed up early. I had the necklace in my coat pocket, the letter folded neatly in my wallet. The restaurant had dim lighting and soft music, the kind of place you don't find on accident. I asked the hostess to light the candle early, just for atmosphere. Sophie was 20 minutes late. She walked in wearing a short black dress and the same perfume she wore on our first date. I thought maybe she'd remembered. That maybe she was late because she'd been getting ready with care, wanting to look perfect for tonight. But the first thing she said was, "Sorry, I got caught up talking to Julia about Ryan." Ryan. I forced a smile. "Everything okay?" "Oh, it's nothing," she said, waving her hand. "Julia just ran into him downtown. He got a new car or something. She said he looks good." I nodded, keeping my expression neutral. She didn't notice the flicker in my eyes. We ordered drinks, wine for her, water for me since I was driving, and talked about nothing for a while. I asked about her work. She shrugged. I complimented her dress. She said, "It's old." The waitress brought our food. Still no real conversation. Halfway through the meal, I took the little gift box out of my coat and slid it across the table. Her eyes lit up, briefly. "A present." I nodded. "It's nothing huge. Just something I thought you'd like. She opened it and stared at the necklace. A small silver pendant, abstract, simple, a crescent shape twisted like a wave. She'd drawn something similar once when she was doodling on the back of a coffee receipt. She tilted her head. It's cute. I hesitated. You don't like it? No, I do. Ryan used to get me these big statement pieces. Like chunky jewelry. Old stuff. This is a little plain, but it's sweet. I didn't say anything. I just picked up my fork again and nodded like it didn't matter. Then, without looking up from her plate, she said it. Why can't you be more like Ryan? I froze mid-bite. I set my fork down. Excuse me. She looked up, blinked, like she hadn't even realized she said it aloud. Then she laughed. God, don't take it so personally. I just mean, Ryan had this fire. He was unpredictable, passionate. You're so safe, reliable. Sometimes it feels like I settled. There it was. 2 years. 2 years of listening, showing up, being consistent. 2 years of letting her process her ex, comparing me to him in every subtle way, and believing that eventually, she'd see me as something more than second place. And on our anniversary, in a restaurant I picked for her, with a gift I bought just for her, she told me I was the consolation prize. So you settled? I said quietly. Don't be like that, she said, rolling her eyes. You know what I mean. You're a good guy, okay? You're the kind of guy women marry. But sometimes I wonder if I forced this. If I chose safe too soon. I nodded slowly. Took a sip of water. So, you wish Ryan was sitting here instead of me? She didn't answer right away. Just shrugged. Sometimes I do wonder what would have happened if we had stayed together. I looked at her for a long time. Really looked at her. Not the woman I met at a party 2 years ago. Not the one who laughed at my dry humor or stayed up with me watching bad documentaries. Not the one I imagined building a life with. Just a woman who couldn't let go of a man who discarded her, and somehow thought that made him worth chasing and me worth ignoring. I flagged down the waitress and asked for the check. Wait, are we leaving already? She asked. Yeah, I said, folding the receipt and slipping my card inside. Why? Because I don't want to waste your time anymore. Or mine. She blinked, suddenly nervous. Don't be dramatic. It was just a comment. I didn't respond. Just signed the bill when it came, stood up, and held out her coat. The drive back to her place was silent. When we got to her building, she didn't move right away. She sat with her hand on the door handle, watching me. Are you mad? No, I said honestly. Then why are you acting like this? I looked at her calmly. Because I finally heard you. That's all. She opened the door and stepped out. Before closing it, she leaned down and said, You're not really going to be weird about this, right? You're still going to text me tomorrow. I didn't answer. I just drove away. And I never texted her again. The moment I drove away from her building, something inside me just shut off. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't vent to my friends or post some cryptic quote online. I just went home, powered off my phone, and sat in silence. That was the first peaceful night I'd had in months. The next morning, I deleted our entire message history, unfollowed her on everything, blocked her number. Then I went for a long walk, grabbed coffee, and got back to work like nothing happened. By noon, the call started. At first, I saw a no-caller ID. Declined it. Then came a flood of texts from unknown numbers, clearly her. Wow. So you're ghosting me now? Is this your way of punishing me for being honest? You're seriously acting like a child. You can't even have a real conversation? After 2 years, I didn't respond to a single one. I knew if I did, I'd get sucked back in, forced to explain, to soothe, to play therapist for the same person who looked me in the eyes and said I was a downgrade. I owed her nothing. By day 3, the tone started shifting. Look, I messed up, okay? I was just emotional. I didn't mean it how it sounded. Can we please talk? I miss you. I miss us. Please don't throw this away. It was almost surreal. This was the same woman who spent months telling me how safe I was. Predictable. Comfortable. Now she was unraveling because I didn't even argue. That's the part that really got to her, I think. That I didn't yell. That I didn't try to fix it. That I didn't ask for closure. I just disappeared. She'd always assumed I'd stick around no matter what. That I was the dependable guy. The safe bet. The guy who'd take the hit and still show up the next day with flowers. But she mistook silence for weakness. And now that silence was eating her alive. A week passed with no contact from me. That's when I got a text from a mutual friend, Jenna. We weren't especially close, but she'd always been friendly, and I figured she was just trying to stay out of the drama. Jenna, hey, I know it's not my business, but Sophie's a mess right now. She's been texting me nonstop about you. Me, noted. Jenna. Also, she tried to get back with Ryan. That caught my eye. Apparently, Sophie had started messaging her ex again, the same Ryan she idolized. She posted an old photo of them on her story with a cryptic caption, "Some connections don't fade." Jenna told me Sophie had driven across town to bump into him. They went out for drinks once. Hooked up. Then, like clockwork, he ghosted her all over again. Blocked her on everything. I didn't even feel satisfaction. Just quiet confirmation of everything I already knew. A few days later, another number tried calling me, twice. I declined both. Then came a message from that number. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I just need to say this. Ryan isn't who I thought he was. I was stupid. Blind. You were the one who actually cared about me. Who showed up. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. Can we please meet? Just to talk. 5 minutes. I'll take whatever you'll give. Still, I said nothing. The next day, she sent another message. You're really not going to answer me? After everything I gave to you? Do you actually think you'll find someone who'll love you like I did? You're just proving me right. You are boring. You're weak. Pathetic. There it was. The mask coming off. The same cycle I'd watched with Ryan. Chase, rejection, panic, rage. She didn't love me. She loved the idea of being chosen. And once she wasn't, she crumbled. A few nights later, Jenna texted again. Jenna. She showed up at a party last night. Drunk. Crying. Told everyone she made the worst mistake of her life. Jenna. Tried to call Ryan again. He had one of his friends pick up and tell her to stop embarrassing herself. Jenna. People are starting to distance themselves. It's getting sad. I didn't reply. I just put my phone down and poured a drink. She was spiraling, and I wasn't going to be the safety net she landed on. Another week passed. I thought maybe she'd given up, finally realized I was gone for good. Then Jenna texted again. Jenna, hey, just FYI, Sophie's coming to Kyle's birthday party next weekend. Me. Didn't know I was invited. Jenna, you are. Kyle asked me to let you know. And she knows you might be there. I hesitated. I didn't want to see her. But part of me knew this was where it would end. Where whatever unfinished narrative she was clinging to would finally get closure. So I said, I'll be there. The party was low-key. Backyard, music, beer, fire pit. When I walked in, a few people came up to say hey, asked how I'd been. I kept it short. I didn't ask about Sophie. Didn't even look for her. But I felt it when she saw me. She didn't approach right away. She waited. Circled. Hovered near the snack table like it was part of some strategy. Finally, she walked over. Sophie, hey. I looked at her. Said nothing. Sophie, you look good. I nodded. Sophie, can we talk? Me, about what? She shifted uncomfortably. Sophie, everything. I've had time to think. I know I said some awful things, and I wasn't fair to you. Me, you said you settled. That I was boring. That you missed your ex. Sophie, I didn't mean it like that. I was frustrated. I felt stuck, and I thought maybe Ryan had something I needed. But I was wrong. Me, you were wrong about Ryan, or wrong about me? Sophie, both. I messed up. Ryan was never going to be who I wanted. But you were. You are. I just didn't see it in time. I stared at her. She looked genuinely shaken. No makeup. Hair pulled back. Eyes glassy. She wasn't wearing that fake confidence anymore. But I felt nothing. Not anger. Not pity. Just nothing. Sophie, lowering her voice, can we please try again? I smiled. Not cruelly, just enough. Me, no. We can't. She blinked. Why not? You're single. I'm single. We have history. I know I hurt you, but me. No, Sophie. You didn't hurt me. You just showed me who you really are. She went quiet. Me. You spent 2 years comparing me to someone who cheated on you, disrespected you, and dumped you. Then you looked me in the eye, on our anniversary, and told me I was the consolation prize. Sophie, I was angry. I didn't mean it. Me. But you did. You meant every word. You were just shocked I didn't beg you to take it back. She crossed her arms, defensive now. So what? You're perfect? You've never said anything stupid in a relationship. Me. No, I'm not perfect. But I never humiliated someone who loved me. Never treated someone who gave me everything like they were just a placeholder. She went quiet again. Me. You chased a fantasy. You made Ryan the standard, even after he threw you away. And when I didn't match him in chaos, you called me boring. Me. Calmly, so now? You don't get stability. You don't get peace. You don't get me. She stood there for a moment, like she couldn't decide whether to cry or scream. Sophie, you really think you're better than me now? Me? No, asterisk, I think I've always been. Her jaw clenched. Sophie, I hope your boring little life keeps you warm at night. Me, it does. Better than your memories of a guy who blocked you twice. That hit her. Hard. She flinched, then turned and stormed off. A few people watched. No one said anything. I didn't follow her. Didn't gloat. I just walked over to the fire pit, took a seat, and opened a beer. I felt light. Lighter than I had in years. That night, I went home, slept like a rock, and never heard from Sophie again. It's been 8 months. I've changed a lot. New apartment. Picked up painting again. Works good. Quiet. Fulfilling. Jenna told me Sophie moved back in with her mom. Apparently, she's focusing on healing. She still brings me up sometimes, but most people have stopped engaging. Ryan? Still around. Still toxic. Still not interested in her. Me? I don't think about her much. But when I do, I don't feel anger. Just relief. Because for the first time in my life, I walked away from someone who didn't deserve me and never looked back. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.